स्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। So the questioner asked the question as to what is the definition of adhyasa, or it can be an objection. What is adhyasa? Means I want to know. I am curious to know as to what is adhyasa. Or one can mean what is adhyasa can also mean what is adhyasa. There is no such a thing called adhyasa. Who are you? आप कौन है जी? I want to know. I'm not. My intent is very good. I want to know who are you. आप कौन है जी? Who are you? This is called, one is apeksha, the other is called akshepa. Pick up these two terms. Apeksha means I have a curiosity to know. The curiosity to know is called apeksha. Pakar पहले आता है. If it is curiosity, pakara पहले आता है. If it is objection, आक्षेपा. चला. भगवद गीता में क्या है जी? I want to know, I am curious to know. Can you tell me exactly what is the theme of Bhagavad Gita? What is there in Bhagavad Gita? This is called apeksha. What is there in Bhagavad Gita? कुछ भी नहीं है. It's called akshepa. When people ask sometimes questions, what is there in their mind is apeksha. The way they put it is akshepa, creating problems. You understand, you know? When the adhyasa is defined, the curiosity is fulfilled, the objection also is negated. It is not merely curiosity, it is necessary to know the definition of an error in order to correct it. Without defining, I cannot negate a thing. Without defining it, I can't know a thing. Definition is not theoretical. Stating the nature is called definition. Stating the nature. The entire Shastra is nothing but stating the nature. My entire well-being depends upon the definition of life, the definition of truth, the definition of everything, the fundamental definition. The very fundamental beyond which there is. That is why Bhashyakara says, it is necessary to get the definition of truth right. It is necessary to know yourself right, because your moksha depends upon your right vision about yourself. The consequences are enormous, unlimited. You can't assess immeasurable consequences. Unbelievable. Like death has endless consequences, immense consequences for a living man. right vision has immense consequences for a man who takes life after life, for the jiva. Are you able to follow? If a man is alive, he is thinking about this and this and this and this and this. And suddenly he dies. And death means what? It's all gone. Sari samasya khatam. Hai na? If I say a right vision about yourself puts an end to all your samasyas. Right vision. The vision of the rope as rope puts an end to all the samasyas coming out of snake. Example should be taken exactly. वहाँ पर तो ठीक है, यहाँ पर तो ऐसा होता नहीं, it's all meaningless. If it were so, the examples Shastra would not have given. If Dashama Drishtanta doesn't suit to the Vedanta, then he would not have given. Like the 10th man, the ignorant, that I am the 10th man, that the ignorance about myself as the 10th man makes me search for only the 10th man. Whereas the ignorance about myself as the truth makes me search the truth. The ignorance of myself as peace makes me search peace. What I miss, that I search. But a person who misses the 10th man, the person who doesn't know himself as the 10th man, he may search for the 10th man in this life. But supposing suddenly he dies, afterwards he is not going to search for 10th man. It's a relative problem. But when a person misses the truth, in every life he has to search for the truth. But that example is relative. Just as when the 10th man understands himself as the 10th man, all the problems born of his ignorance are gone. Similarly, the problems born of the idea that I am the body come to an end with the vision of oneself as the being, unqualified by body. Understand, when the wave understands I am water, it implies I am the ocean, oceanic water. Because waterness is not qualified by waveness. Waveness has a size. Waterness doesn't have a size. So we have to say oceanic water. Negation of the thought I am a wave means the oceanic water. That I am not a wave means I am the oceanic water. That I am limited means I am the all-comprehensive being. This manner. Let it take 1,000 ages, but that's all that is to be. That's the answer lies only there. That's why here Bhagavan says, definition has to be correct. People say, this is just an intellectual definition. These definitions don't work. It is the practice, vagaira, vagaira. The people don't understand. Vedanta is not something. There are values need to be implemented. A definition needs to be understood. A 10th man doesn't have to practice day in and day out, I am the 10th man. Om Namah Shivaya, I am the 10th man, I am the 10th man, Om Namah Shivaya. It is better to say Om Namah Shivaya rather than I am the 10th man. You know it. You see? I may have to, even after knowing an object, I may have to remember it. But the knowledge about the subject, which is not an object of remember, it is not an object of memory, how can it be? Constantly remembered. Understanding that it is not an object of memory. It doesn't require to be remembered. Truth doesn't require to be remembered. Truth is not available to be remembered. Truth illumines every memory. Truth illumines the memory of every object. That doesn't require to be remembered. It needs In that manner it should be understood. Therefore people understand Vedanta is the self-evidence of your existence needs to be understood. Your being needs to be understood. Values have to be implemented. Disciplines have to be followed. Values have to be followed. Goodness has to be followed. Truth has to be understood. It's wrong to say I have to follow the truth. But in satsangs, they will say, Swamiji, what is the use of studying Vedanta unless they don't understand. We can't even object to them because in a few minutes bhiksha aane wala hai. There is a risk of being denied of bhiksha if you object to them. Therefore, ji, implement to karna hai ji. Implement to karna. Bhiksha अच्छा मिल जाएगा. Take bhiksha and go away. When they become mature, they will understand. What can you do? You can't cater to everything in this world. अगर कोई समझने वाला सामने आए उनको बढ़ा सकते हैं. आप दुनिया को कहाँ बढ़ाएं? Let भगवान की. हम तो भगवान नहीं है. But if I can understand what is a little bit in life before I leave the body, good enough. But don't feel perturbed by the stupidities of others. Don't feel perturbed. Just take it in your stride. Leave it and offer a prayer. And if somebody gives you bhiksha, offer a prayer. Hey Bhagavan, guide them in their thinking. Yes, it will happen. It doesn't come under Andhavishwas. Prayer doesn't come under Andhavishwas. Because prayer alone will bring me result without effort is Andhavishwas. Prayer has no validity. Prayer is valid only in association with self. बहुत बड़ी बात है ये. Prayer has no value independently. Prayer, even if a person prays for good education, he has to go to school. Pray for good results, he has to make effort. Prayer is always associated with, Daivam is always associated with Yatna. Daivam is associated with Yatna. Therefore, make effort with a prayer. That's called prayer. That is the context of prayer. Prayer cannot be a substitute of effort. Prayer is a reinforcer of effort. Prayer is a reinforcer of effort. Prayer is, and therefore, offer a prayer. Therefore here, anyway, coming back to the definition, अध्यास का डेफिनेशन हो गया जी. तावदादौ कथनीयमिति प्रष्टुरभिप्रायः अथवा कोऽयमध्यासो नाम नास्त्येवध्यासो नाम कश्चित् लक्षणाभावात् इति आक्षेपः क्रियते. एवं हि तत्त्व निर्णयार्थस्य शास्त्रस्य सुखप्रतिपत्त्यर्थं प्रष्टारमाक्षेप्तारं वा पुरतः स्थितमिव समुपकल्प्य प्रतिवचनं परिहारवचनं वा वर्णयन्ति तज्ञाः. If it is a curiosity-born question, if it is a real question, then you give the prativachanam, the answer. If it is an objection, you negate the objection, that is called parihara. One is prativachana, the other is parihara. If you are objecting, I refute that objection. Refuting is called parihara. Answering a question is called prativachana. Prashna prativachana. Prashna prativachana. Akshepa parihara. When somebody objects, I don't believe in Vedanta. Vedanta is not a pramana. What is it? Apeksha or akshepa? Do you answer him? No. You refute him. Say this anaivaya is I. You dismiss him. You dismiss his objection. Objections are dismissed. Questions are answered. A student is one who has questions, not objections. A Purvapakshi has objections. A Vidyarthi has questions, not objections. I don't accept. Should be like this, like. He doesn't argue, he only wants to know. Why? Because it is avivada. Truth is not available for argument. We don't have to argue in order to establish you are there. Argument presupposes existence. Not that existence is proved through argument. ये तो बहुत बड़ी बात है. What is now Adhyasa Lakshana, page number 17. We have completed all this. I have given you the essence. The very word doesn't matter now. What is the definition of Adhyasa? Have you seen this also? No. Okay, Pratyaha Siddhanti Uchyate Smriti Rupa Paratra Purva Drishtava Bhasa. Memorize this. You know, this particular definition includes the definition of both Sadhi Adhyasa and Anadi Adhyasa. Did I tell this in the previous class? That word Purva Drishta refers to the Sadhi Adhyasa. The word Smriti Rupa refers to Anadi Adhyasa. Smriti Rupa refers to Anadi Adhyasa. Smriti Rupa means just a thought without there being a thing. You remember your house, there is no thing here. There is no thing. Supposing I see an object, then I have a thought plus the object. Supposing you remember in memory what is there? Only a thought, there is no object. Adhyasa is always in the form of pratyaya without there being a thing. I see the snake, but there is no snake. It is Smriti Rupa. It is not exactly Smriti, it is Smriti Rupa. It is like memory. It is like memory, means just as in memory there is no object. It is only a Pratyaya Rupa. Memory is only in the form of a Pratyaya. Adhyasa is also in the form of Pratyaya. It is Smriti Rupam, not is Smriti Reva. It is not memory, it is like memory. In memory there is no thing, there is only a pratyaya. Thing may be somewhere else, but right here when you remember, in that there is no thing, there is only memory. Memory is just a thought. Memory is not a thing, memory is a thought. And every error is Smriti Rupa. I am just dilating this. Error is always Smriti Rupa. In other words, Pratyaya Rupa. Why did not Bhagavan use in the definition, while giving the definition of Adhyasa, why did not Bhashyakara use the word Pratyaya Rupa instead of saying Smriti Rupa? He could have said Pratyaya Rupa. It doesn't work. Because there are so many pratyayas involving objects also. There are also, then you have to say, it is pratyayaha minus the object. Instead of that, Smriti Rupa is better, is it not? Then I look at the table, it's pratyaya. But there is also an object. Is it not? Therefore, only the word Smriti excludes the objects totally. The word Smriti excludes the object totally. the word pratyaya needs to be explained. Kevala pratyaya rupa. I have to use the word kevala. Why elaborate? Why make the definition more elaborate? Let it be cryptic. Smriti rupa. The word smriti excludes the object totally. The word pratyaya is likely to have a link to the object. Therefore, always remember, adhyasa, the whole creation is smriti rupa, pratyaya rupa. I see the universe without there being universe. Yes. How can I see a universe without there being universe? What is there is only Brahman. I am seeing my being as both me and the universe. One Brahman is seen as both Jiva and Jagat. And therefore, what is adhyasa? Smriti rupa. It is only a thought, a distorted thought. For students, all these things are necessary. It's not just a thought, it is a distorted thought. About what? Paratra. Paratra. And a fact, in a fact. Paratra means there is something, a reality. Paratra smriti rupaha. A distorted thought about a reality is adhyasa. This applies to both sadhi adhyasa and anadi adhyasa. Paratra smriti rupaha abhabhasaha. Connect these three words. Paratra smriti rupaha abhabhasaha. Meaning what? A distorted thought about a reality. This applies to both sadhi adhyasa as well as anadi adhyasa. And when it comes to only sadhi adhyasa, you bring in purvadrishta. I see the rope. Then I look upon it as snake, which I had seen before. If I don't know snake at all, I cannot look upon it as snake. So the word purvadrishta is it's something, it is applicable to sadhi adhyasa. The word purvadrishta is applicable to sadhi adhyasa. It is not applicable to anadi adhyasa. Whereas paratra smriti rupaha avabhasaha applies to both anadi adhyasa and sadhi. Or let me put it. What is anadi adhyasa? Paratra smriti rupaha avabhasaha. Bas, this is anadi adhyasa. What is sadhi adhyasa? Paratra purvadrishta avabhas. Smriti rupaha paratra purvadrishta. The whole thing is, it includes both anadi as well as minus purvadrishta, it becomes anadi adhyasa. With purvadrishta, it becomes sadhi adhyasa. Samajh gaya hai na? Not easy to explain. Because sadhi anadi, a few times if you repeat, man goes to sleep. Yes, you say a few times, half a dozen times sadhi and half a dozen times anadi, and you get so bored. कुछ काम की बात बताओ स्वामी, which I can go and practice. Everybody wants to practice. Doesn't want to understand. Practice, yeah, practicing. Just because you practice, nothing is going to happen. Just because you repeat a few times, the heavens are not going to come. If the ocean says Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, what is that? It is not going to become more oceanic than himself. He said, be a wonder at your existence, your being. Be reflective of your existence. Figure out your existence. There is only figuring out your being, rather than practicing and then creating some effect. Even the word meditation I don't mind, as long as it means figuring out your being. You can use any word, but it should mean only figuring out the truth of your being first. Therefore, now he explains, Paratra vastuni parasya atadrupasya avabhasaha adhyasa. Paratra means in a reality. Vastuni. Paratra should mean vastuni, in a reality. Parasya means something else, atadrupasya, which is contrary to its nature. There is a reality, and every reality is available for distortion. Amazing, ji. Every reality is available for. Like every law is there to be broken. Is there an unbreakable law? Every law? I said, every law is available to be broken. And there was another joker, he said, Swamiji, what are you talking? Every law is meant to be broken. Not can be broken, it is meant to be broken. नहीं तो आनंद कहाँ है जिंदगी में? This man, every reality is available for distortion. There is no such a thing. Certain realities are available for distortion. Certain realities are not available for distortion. I need, because you can miss any truth. Can miss any truth. The glory of the truth is not that it cannot be mistaken. The glory of the truth is that it remains the same even when you mistake it. That is the glory. This is not easy. Only the very fortunate come to understand this point. Otherwise people will keep repeating and wasting time. How can you misunderstand the truth? I mean, how come? How can the self be misunderstood? If it is truth, how can it be misunderstood? If it is truth, how can it misunderstand? And the whole life is gone vanished. 30 years ago he was asking the same question. After 30 years he is asking the same question. After another 30 years also he will be asking the same question. There is no movement at all. And if you explain it, it is not available to understand. It is too much for him. After every reality can be misunderstood. Why? Because when you don't know it, you can misunderstand it. What is great about it? What is impossible about it? वो तो मैं समझ गया. And then again he repeats the question. वो सब पूरा clear है. वो सब क्या है? Please, let us continue. Paratra vastuni parasya. Paratra in a reality, parasya means something contrary to it. Meaning atadrupasya, which is totally unlike the reality. Avabhasaha appears. Sometimes this avabhasa I am going to explain. When I miss the truth, whether I like it or not, I choicelessly perceive it wrongly. Once it is choiceless, in choicelessness there is no variety. It's a very important breakthrough I am giving you. When I miss the rope, I choicelessly see it as snake, or it choicelessly appears as snake. Say it in whatever way, it doesn't matter. I perceive it as snake. But supposing somebody says it appears as snake, koi baat nahi ji. Koi baat nahi. Here in Sadhi Adhyasa I perceive, and the whole universe, it's better to say the whole thing appears. Adhyasa, that is Adhyasa. An error is that. What is the error? Seeing something contrary to the truth in the truth. Something contrary to the reality within reality. Seeing the snake contrary to the rope within the rope. Can there be some other kind of definition? And then we can you can't define error without the reality. There can't be error without reality. There can't be an error about the reality without the ignorance about the reality. There can't be an error unless the reality is within anubhava, within experience, whether it is sense experience or self-experience. Paratra vastuni parasya atadrupasya avabhasaha adhyasaha idam cha adhyasu samanya lakshanam. This is the general definition of adhyasa. The moment we say the general definition of adhyasa, it applies to both sadhi adhyasa and anadi adhyasa. That is called the general definition. This author is great, ji. He's a great author. He's a great thinker, man. This is the general definition. Idam jadhyasu samanya lakshanam paratra vastuni parasya atadrupasya avabhasa. He has removed the purvadrishta. Purvadrishta becomes the sadhi adhyasa. Minus purvadrishta, the remaining part of the definition applies to all kinds of adhyasa. Seeing something different from what it is. Seeing something for what it is not. Tasmin tad buddhi. उसमें पूर्व दृष्टि वगैरह है ही नहीं है. Seeing something for what it is not. Seeing the rope for snake. You know, some people argue, later on it is going to come. This is also a context, you can immediately connect it. Object is all right, is available to be misunderstood. How can the self be misunderstood? I say any reality can be. Anything that is within anubhava can be misunderstood. Bas. One is a physical reality, the other is a conscious reality. If you miss something on your palm, you will misunderstand. You had a lumpy wealth line and you didn't know that it is a wealth line. And then you always think, I don't have wealth line, I don't have. That is why my business doesn't get a breakthrough, vagera, vagera. You're already 1,000 crores plus. You're already 1,000 crores plus. I don't have wealth line. Suddenly you show your hand to me, I say, my God, you've got such a big wealth line. Do I have wealth line? I never thought that. So, all depression of the life is gone. He used to get depressed, I don't have wealth line, I don't have wealth line. The moment he discovers that there is wealth line, I tell you, we become unhappy through our ignorance more than anything else. Ignorance tortures us, torments us. Poverty doesn't torment us. Stupidity does torment. You miss a lot of opportunities in life due to stupidity. Stupidness. Do you know what creates stupidity? Unnecessary ambitions. क्या बड़ा ambitions. सब छोड़ के जाना है. Therefore, try to be logical, correct. Looking at yourself is more important than waiting for results. Remembering the past is nothing, it gives you nothing. Imagining the future also gives you nothing. Looking at yourself. Your presence is the truth. You keep remembering the past, it doesn't enlighten you. Keep thinking, ambition for the future. I will do this. And have a big edifice and then thinking about the future makes me look at donkey. Remembering the past makes me look his first cousin. You understand, Yes, Ji, I feel absolutely. I have no doubts about it. Do roti leki, just look at your presence right now. You are not a thing of the past, you are not a thing of the future. You are ever present. Can you ever visualize as belonging to the past? If you can belong to the past, you should not be right now. If you belong to the future, you should not be right now. But if you are right now, then you are neither a thing of the past nor a thing of the future. See this point. You are much better off. You are much better off. Therefore here, Tatra Atmanatmanoho. I am going to see you line after line, aram se, and don't be in a hurry. Tatra Atmanatmanoho Anyonyadhyasaha Anadiriti Vakshate. Tatra Atmanatmanoho Anyonyadhyasaha. Between Sadi Adhyasa and Anadi Adhyasa, Atma Anatma Adhyasa. The ocean being taken, the oceanic waters being taken for a wave, and the wave being taken for oceanic water. Atmanatmanoho anyonyadhyasaha anadiriti, and this is anadi. Iti vakshate will be told. We are going to tell you, sir, the author says, Rajju Sarpa Adhyasa, Shuktika Rajata Adhyasa, Maru Marichika Adhyasa, Sthanu Purusha Adhyasa are all Sadi Adhyasas. Atmanatma Adhyasa is Anadi. Whereas Mula Vidyavadi says, this Atmanatma Adhyasa also is Sadi. Why? Because in sleep it was not there. It begins with the waking, therefore this is also Sadi. Then what is Anadi? Mula Vidya is Anadi, because it is there in both the waking dream and sleep. Meaningless. Anadi Adhyasa means. Even the idea of Sushupti is rooted in Dehoham. Don't say Dehoham is not there in Sushupti, the third state. In fact, the third state itself is rooted in the Dehoham. And all the three states are rooted in the truth. That's different. But if you are talking about the Sushupta as a third state, it is rooted in Dehoham. Therefore, we don't accept ignorance, non-understanding, or the Mula Vidya is Anadi, whereas Dehoham is Sadi. We say Dehoham itself is Anadi. It is this, the genius of a human being lies in understanding Dehoham as anadi. The genius of a human being lies in putting all the three states in the context of Dehoham. Within Dehoham are the three states. And Dehoham, which is synonymous with three states, is rooted in the truth, is adhyasa about the truth. Truth is the fourth, and the three states are adhyasa. And time also is dinadhyasa. How can you say it is sadi? You know, another meaning of sadi I will tell you. An event in time is sadi. What takes place? An event takes place in a time, it is sadi event. An error takes place in time, it is sadi error. Sadi also means that which presupposes yourself as an individual, jiva, pramata. Sadi adhyasa, Rajusarpa adhyasa is committed by Brahma or jiva? Rajusarpa adhyasa. I have to be a jiva. Is it not? I have to be a jiva. When the jiva makes it, having become a jiva, if I make a mistake, it is sadi. But becoming jiva, anadi. That I am a jiva is anadi. That I am the deha is anadi. Therefore life is anadi. Call it life, call it embodiment, call it adhyasa about the truth, it is anadi. And don't think, anadi means, sadiyon se chalte aa raha hai. Ye is headache. There is no sadiyon se, it is only present now. It is not a thing of the past, it is not a thing of the future, it is the ever-present error about the ever-present truth. It is ever-present error about ever-present truth. The ever-present error, how can you negate it? Because it is an error. That's why Nayayikas say, how can you negate the anadi dehoham? If dehoham is anadi, anything else that is anadi should be ananta. Listen to it. What is beginningless must also be endless. This Nayayikas logic. We say if it is a beginningless error, it has an end. Why? Happens to be an error. Don't say the anadi is unnegatable, sadi is negatable. It's wrong. Truth is unnegatable, error is negatable. That is Vedanta. Truth is unnegatable, error is negatable. Whether it is sadi or anadi, who cares? Thus, tatra atmanatmanoho anyonyadhyasaha anaditi vakshate shukti rajatadi sadhyadhyasasyapi lokasiddhasya sangrahartam tadudaharanena prakritadhyasu sarupa nirdharanartham cha visheshanadvayam. For this sentence, what the meaning is? Visheshanadvaya means two adjectives. The definition of adhyasa has two adjectives. One adjective is to refer to. One adjective is to refer to sadi and the rest. And the other is for anadi. So the definition of adhyasa is comprehensive of both sadi and anadi. Shukti rajatadi sadi adhyasasyapi lokasiddhasya sangrahartam. Sangrahartam means to include. When you define adhyasa, it must include both sadi and anadi. If the definition of adhyasa has to include both sadi and anadi, then the definition must have two great adjectives. One is purvadrishta, the other is smriti rupaha. Smriti rupaha is meant to define anadi adhyasa and also sadi, whereas purvadrishta is specifically to sadi. You have to follow this. Use your intelligence to understand Vedanta. And if you can use your intelligence to follow Vedanta correctly, then I can tell you your depression. Oh, I could not do, despite great education, I did not do big job. मैं कुछ काम कर सकता था, कुछ कमा सकता था, कुछ बुटीक शुरू कर सकता था, कुछ तो कर सकता था. These ideas, will all go away. Use your intelligence to understand the truth rather than running a boutique. Becoming a business executive is not a big accomplishment. It just gives a kick to your ego, और कुछ नहीं. Like that. Some people come to the park with a stick, executive stick, what is it called? Like like a big executive, stick? Staff? Yeah. It's not walking stick, बुजुर्ग लोगों का नहीं है. Baton, yes, it's a baton. हमारे लिए लकड़ी है बस. They come to the park. It gives you an intellectual kick. Adi. There are a lot of symbols which gives you an intellectual kick. How do they give you intellectual kick? Intellectual kick means they create an impression in others that you are an intellectual. Not that they give any intellectual kick. They create a wrong impression in others that you are a big intellectual. And that you know very well. And that is called an intellectual kick. That is all ego, ji. And here, my God, you are using the purest of intelligence to understand the truth, the real thing. Therefore, the executive doesn't come to the class. The student goes to office. Vedanta Vidyarthi goes to office, not the office goer comes to the class. Because fundamentally you should look at yourself as a student of truth. Anyway, I have explained this line also. Purvadrishta is meant to refer to the sadi. Smriti rupaha is meant to refer to both. Smriti rupaha is samanya. It applies to both. Whereas purvadrishta applies to only sadi. I think I have conveyed. Not, and let it sink in. Because in Deho, this, many people, Mula Vidyavadis explain like this. Because you had taken that you are the body in the previous life, that sanskara leads you to take that you are the body now again. ऐसा नहीं है. Because the purvadrishta, they connect it to anadi adhyasa also. Why? Because first they conclude the anadi, this dehoham also is sadi. Rajju sarpa is sadi. Dehoham also is sadi. So if purvadrishtatvam applies to sadi, Rajju sarpa sadi, then it should apply to dehoham also. Then they will say, जैसे पिछले जन्म में लिया था मैं, देहो हूं वैसे अभी भी लेता हूं. ऐसा है. Sanskara plays no role in adhyasa, in anadi adhyasa. Sanskara is born of adhyasa, adhyasa is not born of sanskara. Did you follow this? Sadhi adhyasa is born of sanskara. I have sarpa sanskara. I have a thought. That is called sanskara. Purva drishtatva means sanskara. मेरे दिमाग में I have the idea of snake. That's why I see it for a snake. अगर सर्प संस्कार ना होता, if I don't know what is snake, I would never see it as snake. But अनादि अध्यास में संस्कार नहीं. There is only ignorance about that. Then they will also say, just as you took yourself to the body yesterday, today also you wake up with the thought, I am the body. So sanskar continues. Is it the perpetuation of the sanskar that I am the body? Most profound topic they convert into so such a thing. That's why, Bhagavan Krishna says, I am concluding, don't worry. Bhagavan Krishna says, this topic fell into the hands of some mediocre people. That's why we have lost it. Dedicatedly mediocre. Sometimes, they are dedicated souls, but in time we have lost everything because it fell into the hands of people who had ambitions. They used Vedanta to get some pedestal. That's why we lost it. Karma Yoga, we lost it. Brahma Vidya also, we are losing it. All that remains in India is some kind of meditation, not Vedanta. Shastra nahi. All that remains is only some tantra, mantra and meditation. And plus visiting the Purva Janma. Visiting previous life. Everybody says, I can take you to previous life. What if you were not a human being in the previous life? Hare Rama. That is why it is better to spend some time in life to look into Shastram correctly. I'm telling you. Everything else. And therefore, all your so-called imagined failures in life get nullified. All your imagined failures get nullified with studying the Shastra. It's almost like saying, एक आदमी ने भाई थोड़ा किचन को साफ करो, बड़ा मुश्किल है. वेजिटेबल काटो, नहीं बड़ा मुश्किल है. थोड़ा चावल साफ करो, बड़ा मुश्किल है. थोड़ा लकड़ियां लेके आओ, बड़ा मुश्किल है. थोड़ा खाना बना दो, मुश्किल है. खाना बना दिया, बोला थोड़ा खाना तो खा लो. इतनी बात कैसे, मैंने मना किया कितनी बार, कम से कम इस बार मना करने के लिए इच्छा नहीं हो रहा है. चलो लेट मी अप्लाई. This is exactly what is Shastra Adhyayana. I missed so many things, I failed in so many things, but I did the right thing. Yes. I might have failed in so many things, but I succeeded in one right thing. Okay, Ji. We have just done the definition of Adhyasa. Remember it. Smriti Rupaha, Paratra, Purvadrishta, Avabhasa. There are 4 words. 3 words are common to both. 1 word is only for Adhyasa. If you can capture this, you have captured this entire book, I'm telling you. You have captured this. This is captured. It has to sit in the mind. You captured everything. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। शादी अध्यास के लिए ना स्मृति मतलब केवल प्रत्यय। स्मृति का मतलब केवल प्रत्यय। स्मृति का अर्थ यहाँ पर संस्कार नहीं। स्मृति माने केवल, स्मृति का मतलब ए थॉट इन्वॉल्विंग नो ऑब्जेक्ट, दैट इज कॉल्ड स्मृति।